This Is Me is all about telling stories. So here's mine. My mum was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when she was about 30 years old, after she attempted suicide while I was away on a school trip. After that, she spent some time in a psychiatric hospital. But tragically, at the age of just 34, when I was 16, she ended her own life. That was obviously devastating and catastrophic for my younger brothers and me. But when I look back, one of the things I'm really grateful for is that my mum's GP helped her to explain her illness to us. That meant that I understood that she had no choice in this, and that it wasn't a case of her having to pull herself together. And that meant that at least initially, I didn't feel the stigma that society attaches to mental illness and suicide. But that soon changed after my mum died, as I saw and felt the reactions of people around me when I told them what had happened and how she had died. One vivid memory that stayed with me was overhearing the mother of a friend of mine talking about what an awful, horrible mother that woman must have been, before she realized that that woman was my mum. So, on that day, she taught me a really important lesson, that a lot of people had a lot to learn about mental illness. So, as a headstrong teenager, I made it my mission to talk about my mum as much as I could. And as I did, I noticed that whilst people felt uncomfortable initially, the more I talked, the more they started to open up and talk about their own mental health experiences. And so, through my own direct experience, I learned the importance of talking about these things. This Is Me is an incredibly effective and incredibly simple concept of destigmatizing mental illness through the simple act of storytelling. And I had learnt about the power of storytelling in breaking down barriers, and how breaking down those barriers for some people was life-changing. I first heard about This Is Me in this very building at an event in 2017, and I was immediately convinced. Nearly 20 years after losing my mum, I was a lawyer, not yet a partner, at CMS, an international law firm. And whilst the This Is Me campaign, for me, was preaching to the converted, it gave me a solid framework to take back to my firm's board. And I'm so proud to say that our board has been and remains extremely supportive of this campaign, perhaps pioneeringly so. And so with their support and the support of 11 courageous colleagues who were willing to share their own stories, we made our first film. And we launched it internally in Mental Health Awareness Week 2018, and then externally on World Mental Health Day later that year. The film had an enormous and immediate impact. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with our colleagues describing the film as powerful, inspiring, and culture-changing. One partner who had been at my firm for 25 years emailed our board to say that she had never been so proud to work for CMS. And we were flooded with messages from our people telling us that the bravery of their colleagues had inspired them to seek help for their own mental health problems, some of which had been lifelong and never addressed. I'm so grateful that This Is Me gave us a platform upon which to help those colleagues who might otherwise still be suffering alone. And it's likely no exaggeration to describe the impact of this campaign as life-saving. What's more, the film's release on LinkedIn became our firm's most successful social media post ever, with over 40,000 views and 300 shares, which, for a post by a law firm, I can tell you is exceptional. And that goes to show that this is not only important to our people and to our firm, but also to our clients and to our peers. And the impact continues. After sharing our first film, we have shared a further 15 written stories covering a whole range of topics, including bereavement, baby loss, suicide and self-harm, PTSD, anxiety, depression, addiction, and schizophrenia. And we now release new stories on a rolling, ongoing basis. We were due to make our second film in March 2020 when lockdown hit, so I hope that that film will now be made next spring. This Is Me has made CMS a healthier, more inclusive workplace where mental health and well-being is prioritised across the business. I hope that those of you here tonight who have not yet taken part in the This Is Me campaign will be inspired to do so, and I'd be delighted to talk to anybody afterwards about how to get started. Thank you.